I want you to imagine something. First, imagine a hot dog.
Oh wow, look at that.
Then imagine a hot dog in a bun. Put some mustard and ketchup and everyone thinks it's a complete dog. You're missing out on one of the greatest American food combinations of all time. And we're gonna correct that. About two main things, dogs and a proper chili. Not any chili, specifically a Cincinnati chili. Think, Skyline. First, I want to talk about hot dogs, and since a good one is hard to come by, we're gonna make our own. Obviously, we do that around here. We're gonna make our own buns, we're making everything, and then we're gonna make the ultimate chili cheese dog that has ever existed on the planet. The point is, we're combining all these classic techniques to make the best version of an American classic. But you know what else is a great combo? Home and car insurance. And that's where today's sponsor, Geico, comes in. Combining your home and car insurance could save you even more. And of course, for bundling made easy, visit geico.com today, head to the link in the description and see how much you could save. Now, with all that said, let's make this, shall we?
The greatest chili cheese dogs that ever existed? Maybe yes, maybe no, but we're making the hot dogs, the buns, and of course, the most important, Cincinnati-style chili. But let's start with our homemade dogs. Look, I could say this is easy, but I'd be completely and entirely lying to you. But you know what? If the greatest things in the world were easy, then they wouldn't be as great. So you're gonna need to start with some sheep casings, link in bio for those, or you can use vegetarian casings if you find that yucky wucky. But Papa keeps things traditional. Rinse off the salt from the casings, then soak them in warm water for 1 hour. I like to change the water out halfway, but that's optional. While that's soaking, you'll need 3 pounds or 1.3 kilos of boneless pork shoulder and 3 pounds or 1.3 kilos of beef chuck roast. And guess what? Boneless! That hurt my mouth. Cut those into long strips that will fit into whatever grinder you have. Yes, we're grinding our own, come on, you know me. Of course you can buy pre-ground, but where's the fun in that? And if you have a stand mixer, you can go and snag a grinder attachment, and for that, the link is in the bio. Anyway, once your meat has been sliced and maybe slapped a little, set up your meat grinder and, well, let it rip. Grind all of your beef and pork until it's, ground. And I found that in order to get that really fine texture that hot dogs have, after you've ground all your meat, give it one more pass through the grinder to get it ultra fine. Then once that's done, knead that puppy like there's no tomorrow for about 30 seconds, actually. Adding a 1/4 cup or 60 milliliters of ice water halfway through that process. Then once it comes together and is incorporated, you think it might be done. Well, hang on, you're not quite done working on your meat there, bud. In a separate bowl, combine 1 tablespoon or 15 grams of brown sugar, 2.5 tablespoons or 24 grams of smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon or 12 grams of garlic powder, 5 grams of Prague powder number 1. Now, listen carefully to Papa. 5 grams. You understand? Don't get all weird and try to do this in teaspoons. This stuff is dangerous if not handled properly, so please use a scale in the parameters that I've written here. Keeping it safe for the little babies. Yeah. 2 tablespoons or 5 grams of mustard powder, 2.5 tablespoons or 45 grams of kosher salt, 2 teaspoons or 5 grams of fresh cracked black pepper, and lastly, 72 grams of a sausage binder flour such as soy protein concentrate. This is optional, but it does help maintain some moisture during the cooking process. Whisk it together and then realize you also forgot the 1 tablespoon or 5 grams of coriander seeds. Forgetting that actually helps contribute to the flavor, so that's a lie. Whisk all that together, then add 1/2 cup or 120 milliliters of ice water, and you'll essentially get a thick paste. Now add that paste to your meat, roll up them sleeves, and get to work. You're gonna need this for 3 to 5 minutes. Yep, you're going to the gym today whether you want to or not. Sorry, you can go quiet about it later. You'll know it's done when it's emulsified and you get a tacky texture like this. Now comes the easy part. Get a sheep casing, switch to a sausage stuffer, which if you listened to Papa, you'd also have that with your meat grinder stand mixer attachment. This sounds like an ad, it's really not. I just like using this. Line your stuffer with the casing and get to filling. I have a more detailed sausage guide if you need more context on filling, but honestly, it's really straightforward and you literally just fill it up. Now, once that casing is full, pop it off, twirl it into hot dog length segments, and well, that's it. From there, just rinse and repeat with the rest of your casings and meat. This makes a lot of hot dogs. Maybe like 40 to 60, depending on the casing you use, but you're welcome to freeze half the meat and stuff the other half. Now once that's done, pop those buds in the fridge, uncovered to dry overnight. Now let's start our next day off with our buns. These are the exact same buns for many of the butt butters, and most recently the Big Mac. So if you want to see how to make that dough, then go and watch that video, link in the bio. Now once your dough has been risen and is fatty, oh so chunky, punch the absolute life and wind out of it, cut it into about 100-gram pieces, which will get you 10 to 12 total buns, roll those into light balls, cover with a damp towel, and rest for 15 minutes. Then take your balls and gently roll them into 6-inch logs. Then line them up in a single file line like you're at the DMV, but instead the DMV is actually a parchment-lined baking sheet. See? It's like the same thing, but not at all. Then cover with another inverted baking sheet and proof for 30 minutes. Now once your wiener holders are puffed, brush them all with one beaten egg and toss into a preheated oven set to 375 Fahrenheit for 15 to 18 minutes or until a beautiful deep golden brown. Then just finish them off with a beautiful brushing of melted butter, optionally a little sprinkle of flaky salt on each of them, and those are some absolute gourmet wiener pillows. Okay, one more thing before we smoke these dogs. The most important Cincinnati chili. I know Cincinnati is watching, so I hope I don't get yelled at in the comments, but I probably will, so who cares? First step, big heavy bottom pot. Heat up a couple tablespoons of vegetable oil, or in my case lard, over medium-high heat till the oil is hot donkey. Then add in 1.5 pounds or 650 grams of ground beef. Flatten it out and let that sear for 3 to 4 minutes or until you get a nice crust. Toss it around and continue to cook for a total of 5 to 8 minutes using a potato masher in between to get the beef nice and fine. Now this is how you be a culinary hype beast. Until the beef is cooked through and has some good color to it. Then remove it from the pot, place it to the side, get a little more oil into that pot, and then add 3 to 4 cloves of garlic crushed by hand. Let those cook for 2 minutes or until they begin to turn golden, and then add 1 sweet onion that's been grated. Then all you gotta do is cook that until most of the liquid has been sweat off and the onion has turned translucent. Then add 1 6-ounce or 170-gram can of tomato paste, toss that together, and cook until the tomato paste begins to stick and caramelize. Add some salt to taste, 1.5 teaspoons or 5 grams of ground cumin, 1 tablespoon or 12 grams of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon or 3 grams of red pepper flakes. Oh my god. I'm running out of breath. This is ridiculous. Half a teaspoon or 3 grams of granulated sugar, a 1/4 cup or 32 grams of chili powder, not paprika or spicy chili powder. I'm talking chili mix chili powder. You know, for chili, because we're making chili. A 1/4 teaspoon each of ground nutmeg and allspice. How many ingredients did I add this? Did I even look at this recipe before I made it? Stir that together and saute until fragrant, about 30 seconds. Then add 4 1/4 cup or 1 liter of water. Stir that together. Then add all your beef back. Bring that up to a boil over high heat, then immediately reduce to low and simmer for 1 to 1.5 hours, stirring occasionally or until reduced and thickened. Don't overdo the thickness. I know we all like things nice and thick, but just stay calm. We want some level of fluidity here. Something like this. Then adjust the salt levels as needed, and that's your chili from Cincinnati. Except not really, because it wasn't made in Cincinnati. It was actually made in Texas, but that's fine. You see where I'm going with this? Okay, thank you. Lastly, we need to smoke the dogs. This can be done while the chili is being made, obviously. And to do that, set a smoker to 200 to 250 Fahrenheit. Get it nice and, smoky. Get your sausages in there. Obviously, this would be better with a vertically shaped smoker or a smoker that has hooks to hang the sausages. But you know what? Right on the grates is just fine. All the sausage makers are crying right now, by the way. And I will use your tears to cure my next batch of sausage. Then just smoke those bad boys for 30 to 40 minutes or an internal temperature of 155 Fahrenheit is achieved. Then immediately remove from the smoker, snip them at their twirled ends, and place them in a cold ice water bath for 15 minutes or until they've reached 90 to 100 Fahrenheit. Then dry them off with paper towels, then use them in whatever way you want immediately and refrigerate or freeze the rest for later. I'm not gonna tell you how to make a hot dog, okay? If you don't know how to do it, fine, I'll give you a little piece. I did this in a pan, I got some oil in it, got it reaping hot, and seared these for 1 to 2 minutes per side or until they were glossy and brown. I mean, look at these, they're just glistening. And now this leads us to our final moment of truth. Get your buns, tear them apart like so, cut down the middle of the torn area, open it up, add in the hottest of dogs. As much or as little chili as you want, raw onion is optional, but you would add it here. And lastly, a sky-high pile of finely shredded cheddar cheese for the haters. And this right here is a proper chili cheese dog that any hot dog eating contest winner would shake in their boots looking at. Now let's find out if all this effort, all this hard work was truly worth it.
Oh, whoa, be careful there, Josh. All right. Okay, so we have a hot dog, and all it took was 26 hours of hard back-breaking work, and that's how I like it. Now, Cincinnati-style chili, dogs. First off, look at these wieners. I'm gonna give it a snap. Let's see if they snap. Oh! Let's just eat this. We've been working all day for this hot dog. It better be good. This isn't just a hot dog. This is a hot dog. This is like a luxurious chili cheese dog. It has all the classic traditional flavors that it should have, but it's just really good. It's almost raunchy how good this is. The wiener is perfectly cooked, it's perfectly smoked, there's actual flavor. It's not just like, oh, I'm eating a hot dog. It's like, no, I'm eating the finest cuisine hot dog that I can. And the chili is perfectly spiced as it should be, whether you're from Cincinnati or not. This is a chili cheese dog that you will never forget.
You wanna know what else is full of cheese on top of meat that's also on top of more meat? B-roll.
Alright guys, and that is it. Thank you again to our friends at Geico for sponsoring today's episode. They're helping me with my culinary journey around the United States, and they want to help you too. Just by, saving money on your home and car insurance. So not quite as food related, but probably more important. So head to the link in the description and visit geico.com today. Now let's talk about these hot dogs, or more specifically chili dogs. There is no comparison to a homemade bun, hot and fresh, a beautifully smoked hot dog made completely from scratch. It's undefeated. People are gonna be like, oh Josh, but it's so much effort. Yeah, and guess what? There's reward on the other end of that effort. So you can put anything you want on it, any toppings you want, relish, cheese sauce, whatever. You can make it Philadelphia style, however you like it. But this chili cheese combination, everything homemade, has to easily make this one of the greatest hot dogs I personally have ever eaten. And well, I want you to experience that too. So do as much of this as you can, ideally all of it. I will praise you, babakis, if you do. By the way, it's also fine if you don't make it. I don't really care, so it's up to you. But with all that said, if you enjoyed this video or you learned something, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you